All right. Good evening, Top fans. Bill from Top Fan Rivalry again. Back in the clubhouse. It's been a couple of weeks. Last week we had our ladies' night clubhouse, which was a hoot. I don't know if anybody's, if you've watched it yet. I know that we've got a number of views on it already. We did have some technical difficulties. Don't worry, Kathy will be back on again, and we'll make sure that we get her this time on camera. We also did a great interview since we last met on the Before the Bigs category, featuring Derek Schaefer, who did phenomenal. He's an all-star talent out in Arizona. And we also have one coming up tonight on the Before the Bigs category with a coach that's been coaching for 20 plus years, talking to parents about what he looks for in developing talent. But we're back to the boys. We're back to our regular discussions. We got our White Sox fan, we got our Braves fan, we got a kind of quasi-Angel fan and Dodger fan. We're missing a couple of Angel fans, maybe a Red Sox fan, a Pirates fan, a Tigers fan that may be joining us in the next week or two. But for now, let's just get it started. I'm excited to be talking baseball again. And actually, we got 20 plus games under our belt. So let's start off with you, Jackson, with the vintage Braves hat there. And tell me about how you feel like the Braves have started / does it concern anything like that? Just open mic, go for it, Jackson.
I mean, they haven't started off well, but the good news for them is nobody in the National League East has really started off very well at all. They've lost a couple of really tough extra inning games. The bullpen hasn't been great. They've had quite a few injuries, but I think all things considered, 3 games under 500 isn't like the end of the world. They just got to start picking it up. They got to win the division games, and that'll be the key to winning the National League East. At the end of the day, you just got to beat up on the Mets, got to beat up on the Phillies, got to beat up on the Nationals. But
I agree. I'm actually looking at the run differential, and I actually thought it was worse than it was. You guys are only negative 12 runs, which honestly, the way the schedule looks this year, you guys are fine. You guys will beat up on your own division, and the Mets are in first place and they're 9-8.
Yeah, I mean, and Francisco Lindor is hitting like 220 with a 650 OPS after signing that contract. So, I mean, it's not the end of the world. Nobody's running away with it. So they just got to kind of hang in there until they get healthy. If they can get Max Fried back healthy and pitching well, then they can kind of just bridge it. If they can get Mike Soroka back pitching well and then get some more consistency out of that rotation, I think they'll be fine. The bats will come along, even though yesterday was kind of depressing, but
everybody's got to have a bad day, right?
Yeah. And you can't slump the whole season, No. So eventually it'll break out of it.
Yeah. Awesome. Dave, talk to me about what you think the White Sox have done and where they're at.
Yeah, they got off to a slow start. I think they needed a second spring training. I don't think a month was enough. And I think the coaching staff needed it too. Everybody knew we got somebody that hasn't coached in like 9 years, even though he's a Hall of Famer. I think he is a little rusty. But, a couple of really cool stories. And I think, the White Sox finally got some national exposure from a no-hitter from Carlos Rodon. Through his first 3 starts, his ERA is .47. And this guy was non-tendered and was free for anybody to pick up. Pretty nasty injury history, but it sure is good to see a kid like that persevere and come out on the other end and do good things. And all indications are he's going to be there the whole year and putting up some good innings and keeping us in games. So it's good stuff. But the only you mentioned it earlier, the no-hitter. I watched most of that game, and there were a couple really good plays to keep that thing together. Play by Abreu at first base. There was I think a play at short on a rocket that the shortstop picked, and a play or two in the outfield. But there's talk about whether the catcher on the other side should have moved his foot to keep the perfect game together. And to me, it's all gravy. That kid was so close to being done with baseball, and he's back on top of the world throwing a no-hitter. I mean, no-hitter, perfect game. I'm sure he's happy to just be there and be and competing. And those things happen so fast. I'm sure that guy knew what he was doing and could have moved his foot, but reactions take over, and that's fine. I have no issue with it at all. The other big story is Yerman Mercedes, and the guy comes out of relatively nowhere, and what was he like 10 for 12 in his first 12 at bats or something insane. He's still hitting north of 400. And the at bats I've watched have all been quality at bats, and AJ Brzezinski did a really good job breaking him down yesterday and just showing us how he changes his approach with 2 strikes, and that huge leg kick goes away, and he's just really short and compact and gets balls in play. So fun to see that, and fun to see. The last one I'll mention is Nick Madrigal. The Chicago media is talking about him. I'm not sure anyone else is yet, but the guy has swung and missed at pitches twice this season in the month of April. He makes contact. His contact numbers are ridiculous. And he won a game for us, I think, on Friday night with a double over Joey Gallo's head, going the other way. Really impressive for a young kid to come out and be playing like that and have such good bat control and putting up some really strong at bats. So
Yeah, I was just. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I think maybe some of these early season jitters are behind us, and we're going to start putting all the pieces in the right spots and go on a roll.
Yeah, I was just looking at Mercedes stats. 30 hits already. He's batting .429, 4 home runs, 15 RBIs.
Yeah.
I mean,
and this guy was a Rule 5 minor league pick by the White Sox a couple of years ago. He's been trying to make it as a catcher, but he's not going to stick there defensively. But with Eloy Jimenez going down in late spring training with the shoulder injury, this guy plugged right in and made up all that offense and more. So it's been good, and it's been fun. And he's got a cheeseburger named after him.
And Kansas City is they're playing way above their pay grade right now. I don't think this lasts.
Oh yeah.
Anyways, I will tell you, you mentioned Abreu and Ned and Jackson. If you didn't see this play in the bottom or the top of the ninth when the no-hitter was going on, actually it was still a perfect game at the time. There was a ground ball to first base. Abreu grabbed it and ran over to touch the base and had to slide and pretty much could have ended his season, hurting himself sliding into first base, beat first. But man, it was an awesome. That's what an MVP does. He realized the impact of the game. Did either one of you see that play that I'm referring to?
I don't recall.
Okay. You might want to look it up. I was texting with Dave because Dave told me, he goes, you may want to turn on, on MLB Network. And I said, why, what's going on? He said, just turn it on. So I turned it on and I caught that play, and it was arguably one of the best teammate plays that I've seen happen in 20, maybe 30 years. I mean, Dave, tell me, were you not impressed with the way that Abreu just laid it all out there for him? I mean,
no doubt. No doubt.
He gave the kid every opportunity. So awesome. Ned, your thoughts, either Braves or Angels, doesn't matter, or both.
Well, we'll just start with the Braves. Freddie Freeman just hit a 3-run homer to put him back up on top against
nice.
So the bats are awake tonight. So, baseball is a funny game to where you can have a day like yesterday with, essentially playing 14 innings and getting 1 hit, and but come back tonight and score 8 runs through 5 innings. But anyway, it's like I said at the beginning of the season, the injuries are really going to be key, I think, to all the team's success. And, I think the Braves have struggled a little bit with injuries so far this year. And they're not full strength. So, once you get it back at full strength, and like Jackson said, start playing some division foes. I think, once we get all that back and the bats get going, and this is the first thing I was thinking about this the other day. This is the frustrating thing about being a fan, is that what your players are capable of doing, right? And you know, you kind of wish everybody had their MVP season on the same season, right? And it's kind of like that. But you know, as a fan, that's why you watch the game. But you guys, it's a long season, 140 more games to play, so it's you know, we're only 20 games into it. So you know, and would this, you know, streak in the middle of July even be talked about? You know, you know, winning 9 out of 21. You know, who knows? So I mean, it's just happens to be at the beginning of the season. So you know, you know, get all our guys back and then let's talk a little bit. So, but I will address the Angels because, you know, they are, you know, the team that we watch a little bit more. And, you know, they're kind of a funny team. They've been kind of feast or famine this year. You know, Dave, I can't remember. Did they sweep the Sox or the Sox win one of the games to start the season? I can't remember.
Yeah, the Sox won one. They should have won two, but they gave it away at the end.
Yeah. So
One of our 7 blown saves.
Yeah. So the Angels had some early heroic. I think that was the Jared Walsh game you're talking about, right? Where he hit the walk off.
Yeah, you had to bring his name up.
Yeah. Anyway, you know, they've been kind of hit and miss, but you know, the surprise player on the Angels this season, I think, has been Shohei. Like, you know, he's the first player in 100 years since the Babe to lead the league in homers and starting pitch in a game. You know, and he started tonight, and the Angels are doing, you know, they got a lead for him in the 4th inning, but you know, he's, you know, if he could stay healthy all year, and you know, Trout's been hurt and Rendon's been hurt, but you know, they too haven't been hitting on all cylinders. But like Jackson said, I think nobody's really running away with anything right now, except not even the Dodgers, because you know, you have a team that's right behind you that live up in the Bay Area, and their teams are orange and brown, and you know, they play next to the Golden Gate, you know, and they're doing great at home. They're 8-2 already this year, so you got to be careful going up to whatever park that is, Candlestick 2 or
I think it's Oracle Park now. The
whatever
park
name
formerly known as
AT&T, whatever it is.
whatever it is. But you know, it's you know, it's kind of the same thing. It goes back. I think it goes back to the consistency. You know, and Dave touched on it earlier about kind of the managing. I think these managers have been tested a little bit early in the season, because I think a lot of the managers are a little, other than probably guys like Jacob deGrom and Bieber on Cleveland, and you know, they're a little wary to go with starting pitchers a little longer than when they should. So, but you know, it's been interesting with your Dodgers, Bill. You know, Bauer's, you know, 3-0, and you know, he hasn't been kind of lights out, but he's done just enough to kind of help the team. And I think that's what you want in April. And then once you start get rolling in May, June, and July, when, you know, when you start playing your division again, and, you know, they start making measurements at the All-Star break to say, okay, is this team going to, you know, maintain it? I think that's really where it's all going to come about. But I think maybe so far it's been an okay season so far. We didn't really talk about the All-Star game being removed from Atlanta this year. Jackson, what do you think about that?
I don't know.
Not to get politics into it, but you know,
yeah, I just think it's really unfair to the city of Atlanta to punish the people of Atlanta, you know, for something Major League Baseball doesn't disagree with, getting political, but you know, and then moving it to Colorado. Like, who wants to go to Denver to watch the All-Star game?
Well, they did it for the whole, probably all the festivities, like the home run derby, and you know, because they already start talking about that now, about, you know, all of these guys getting out there and hitting 550-foot bombs and stuff like that. But I just thought it was kind of really unfair to the whole Braves organization, you know, because it's, you know, Bill, how would you feel if that happened in LA? You know, as a fan?
I mean, it kind of happened last year. The All-Star game was supposed to be in LA last year, and they didn't get it.
Yeah, but he's getting it next year. So you know, so what happens if they disagree with the governor pick? Let's just say, for example.
I disagree with the governor, but I mean that. First of all, Dave, I'll hold Ned you punch if you want. He brings up Walsh and the Giants. I mean, this guy, right? He's just poking the bear all night tonight. I mean, this is awesome. This is great. I personally, with the All-Star game thing, I think it was a weak move. I'm tired of sports integrated with politics. We watch these guys to play because they're extremely talented. God's given us these great talents. A friend of mine said it best. If I showed up, if I were a teacher, or if I worked at a large corporation, which sports franchises are large corporations. If I showed up in a large corporation and I was wearing a shirt for one political candidate or another, or a specific law or things like that, I may get fired, right? Yet the players are allowed to do it on the field in front of these media. So I think it's ridiculous. I agree with you, Ned, on the sense that there's a lot of baseball still left to play. I think where the Angels are going to have trouble, even being a local guy myself, is I think they're going to have trouble with the run differential. Right now they're -17 run differential, even though they're 10-10. I think they're going to struggle in that sense because when they lose big. When they win, it's kind of a slugfest. Like tonight, they were up 1-0. They gave up 4. Shohei gave up 4 in the first. Now they're leading, but they have to just be super careful with that. As far as the All-Star game is concerned, I think it was weak to move it out of Atlanta. That city, cities prepare for that similar to the Olympics. They make accommodations. This isn't just one game, the All-Star kind of week, where you have the old timers game, you have the celebrities, softball game, and it brings several $1 million into a community. So I think that the city of Atlanta should have fought it harder. But I don't know if you boys noticed or not, but the day after it was announced, the All-Star patch was already covered up on their jersey. So
Yeah,
they weren't even fighting it.
Well, that was only on one of their jerseys. They've got like 4 jerseys they wear, and I think the one they had on the other night actually wasn't covered up. But anyway, I didn't mean to get political, but
No,
I just thought it was.
no, it's a good topic without bringing politics in it. I mean, I think it's pretty clear that the owners are just trying to protect their butt and take the narrative from the players, because if they let it go, you would have how many players refusing to play there, and then a huge PR nightmare, and that's all they're trying to get ahead of. They just don't want to deal with that, like the NFL's kind of been victimized, and the NBA's kind of lost control of that as well.
Well,
So,
let me throw this out there. Do you think this would have happened if there wasn't a shortened season last season? Already with basically what you just said about the owners, because it seems like the owners were the ones that lost last year, not the players, right? Because the players still got their salary. But
it's a good point. I'm not sure. I'd have to think about that one. My initial reaction is it would have happened no matter what, but
I mean, yeah, it's just a thought I had off the top of my head. I know the collective bargaining agreement's up after next year, right?
Yep.
So it also could be the owners just, moving to try to, keep what little advantage they have in negotiations,
Yep.
They don't want to look like the bad guys. They want to make the players look like the bad guys, for not playing.
Yeah, but the ironic part about that is it's the players are the ones that bring the ownership money. They're the ones that go out and perform every day. The owners aren't the ones that are going out there throwing the strikes and hitting the home runs and stealing the bases, right?
Yeah, that's what I mean. They try to flip it on you, so they're trying to save face. That's all
they're
it is.
trying to take control of the narrative and not have it brought to them.
Well,
Anyway.
I mean, they've got multi-million dollar worth of money out, and they're just trying to save face as much as they can. I'm frustrated with my boys just a little bit. We're 15-7. We should be 19-3. There's only been 3 games where we've really lost. The other ones we gave up last night was a perfect example. We were up 7-1. Padres scored 2 in the 7th, 2 in the 8th, 2 in the 9th, and then 1 in the 11th, which I still hate that runner on second base. I get the fact that we had to do it for COVID reasons last year. There's no reason why we have to do it now. None whatsoever. But whatever. I think JT started off hot. And some of the young guys started off really, really hot for the Dodgers. So I like it. We've got Cincinnati in this week. And I think we got a shot there. They're kind of struggling right now. So take advantage of it while you can, and then we go on the road. So, and another controversial concept, and we've talked about this on prior ones, is the freaking schedule. So I was talking to the my friend who's a Red Sox or who's a Reds fan today. The Reds have a stretch where they play 17 games in a row. Then they have a day off. Then they play 15 games in a row. And then they have another stretch where they play another 13 games in a row. So like in a short period of time, travel included, the Dodgers play in Anaheim Mother's Day weekend, come home, have Monday off from that big travel schedule of going from Anaheim to LA. They have Monday off. I think they play 2 with Seattle at home, and then they have another day off, and then they start another series at home. So they have 2 days off in 1 week when there's been no travel. Yet the Reds are going to play 17 games in a row. It just, I don't get it. I just don't understand. The one job that I don't want is the MLB schedule maker, but I just don't get it. So
Isn't the MLB schedule maker like a man and a wife, and they sit in their garage and they look at this and they say, "Oh, this is what we're going to do." Isn't that really who makes the schedule?
sure.
No, seriously, look it up. I think that's what it is. I think it's a couple, or it's 3 or 4 people, and they sit down and they figure it all out.
So
you're right. It doesn't make any sense. I was thinking about that today too. Like what?
Oh my gosh. Yeah. It says Henry and Holly Stevenson, and it's this old couple that just sit there. They have a 30 for 30 film.
Told you.
oh my gosh.
So they
Oh
want
my
the Dodgers
gosh.
to win. That's what that means. They want the Dodgers to be well rested come October.
Well, I'm looking at the Dodgers schedule right now. They play in Chicago on the 5th of May. Then they fly home. They have the day off, the 6th. They play the 7th, 8th, and 9th in Anaheim. They have the 10th off. They play 2 with Seattle. Then they have the 13th off. At home, they play 2 in Seattle against the Mariners at home. And then they play another 2, 3, 7 games at home. Oh, and then they go on the road to the big San Francisco road trip. Like they go to San Francisco. Then they got another day off again. Who's doing this? I guess these people that have the 30 for 30 show are doing this.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's can I ask you guys about the K zone? What do you guys think about that stupid thing on TV that shows whether or not it's a strike or not? And does it annoy you when they don't get rung up when it's a strike or not?
It only annoys me when the ball crosses the plate and the umpire calls it a ball, or the ball's 2 feet outside, the umpire calls it a strike. I'll use an example. I was watching the Braves game earlier this evening, and the umpire has a strike zone that's like 6 inches below the knees. Like he's calling it both ways, but like the hitters are just standing there just baffled. Like, how is that a strike?
What am I supposed to swing at?
Yeah, like, want me to golf it? Like, come on.
I think you expect them to miss a few, but you see some of these guys, just like Jackson was saying, they're consistently miss. It's like, come on, man. I mean, do they watch film? Do they try to adjust between games and get better? Or do they just stick to their guns and are stubborn about it? I don't know. That part gets me. And then, and it's obviously key situations, right? It's 3 and 2. You got a guy on, second and third, and whatever, you're down a run, whatever key situation is, it seems like it's just magnified. And you miss a pitch there, and now your pitcher's gonna burn up another 10 or 12 pitches to get out of the inning. They may or may not. So one pitch can lead to a lot of good or bad things, and it can really be magnified.
So the Dodgers had 2 ring-ups last night, and granted, this isn't the end of the world if you have 2, but the catcher had his glove out on the outside part of the plate, had to move his glove, missed the ball, and tried to frame it, dropped the ball, but was trying to frame it because he was trying to move it quick, and the umpire saw the frame and rang him up. And I think it was, gosh, I can't remember. It might have been Justin Turner. Last night, Mookie Betts should have walked in, I think, the 11th inning. And the catcher literally picked up dirt as he was framing the ball. And the umpire called a strike. Like, that's a guy that had to go to the bathroom or something, just wanted to get out of there.
He had a hot date.
So related to that, have you guys seen the umpire reports that are being published online after each game? And basically it's a report card.
No.
It shows their I got to find you one of those. It shows their most egregious misses, and it correlates them to the situation in the game, and it gives them a score.
Oh my gosh, we could play
balls and strikes.
umpire.
Oh yeah.
Oh
that
my!
sounds like fun.
Angel Martinez list is like a book.
Angel Hernandez.
He's probably already suing whoever's doing this.
Dave, I'm going back to the schedule for a second. I'm looking at the schedule. You guys have May 6th off. So you fly from Chicago to Cincinnati, because that's a long flight, right? On the 3rd. You play the 4th and the 5th. You have the 6th off. Then you fly to Kansas City. Then you have the 10th off to fly home. And then you play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games at home. Then you don't have the day off on Monday, but then you fly to Minnesota, and then you have the 20th off as well to fly from Minnesota to New York. So, I mean, and that's May. In June, you have the 21st off flying from Houston to Pittsburgh, and then the 24th off flying from Pittsburgh back to Chicago. I don't know.
What all that brings back to me is all the bellyache the Detroit Red Wings used to do about all of their travel to the West Coast, and they lobbied to get switched from the Central to the Eastern Division, so they didn't have to travel, and they've sucked ever since. So it all evens out in the end. Hey Jackson, it's at Scorecards on Twitter.
At Scorecards. And
I'm looking at one here. It's for Gabe Morales, and it's for a game Red Sox and White Sox, and they gave him a score of plus 0.93 runs for Boston.
Jackson, do you have it up?
I
on
do.
Your screen?
Yeah.
Here, can you share your screen?
Yeah, hold on a second.
Dave, this is one of the best finds ever.
Well, you can thank Sox on 35th on Facebook.
Oh, there you go. Dave, did you see, or did either of you guys see the billboard that they put outside of Fenway Park?
I heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Thanking the Red Sox fans for Mookie Betts.
There you go.
Woo!
You see that? Here's like Bruce Dreckman.
Wow.
Yeah, so click on that and click on one of them, and it'll show you like the strike zone and what all the calls were that they're questioning. See that?
Wow.
Really...
Wow. Wow, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah, this rocks my whole world.
Yeah, this changes the whole game right there.
Oh, it didn't help Atlanta there.
Yeah, no kidding. It's pretty cool, though, isn't it?
I've never seen this. This is incredible.
You know where they should use this? Little League.
Oh my God. You would
no. Don't give the parents ammunition.
You would need a supercomputer to figure it all out. You need more than a laptop.
Yeah, they use this in Little League. Man, can you imagine the parents?
So there's an example of a pretty good one, right? That umpire must have done a good job.
Jeremy Riggs.
Yeah, that's actually overall.
He was just calling him to the left of the plate, from the pitcher's point of view.
Oh man, this is we've got to find one that's Angel Martinez sometimes, or Angel Hernandez.
Angel Hernandez.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave it to Jackson.
Does he have a search feature inside of his own?
I don't know if they do every game and every umpire either. I no idea. That would be
They're probably afraid of Angel because they'll sue him.
Let's see. We'll just keep scrolling. CB Buckner is usually pretty bad too.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Looks like
Photo
he had a pretty good game
accuracy.
there.
I don't
I'll
know.
have to-
There's a bunch of YouTube like things that you can watch. Sometimes I scroll through them, and there's some things that you can watch on like worst calls ever. And some of them are really, really, really bad. And I was never a fan of replay until I've watched some of these worst calls ever. And all of a sudden I became a really, really big fan of instant replay.
I mean, replay only helps you if New York likes you, though.
That's true.
The replay never helps the Braves.
You must
Well,
be referring
yeah.
to the Sunday night game, right? In against Philadelphia, is that correct?
Yeah, well, there's that one, and then even if replay was around, I'm pretty sure that ball's still an infield fly against the Cardinals.
You could even go back to the 1997 playoffs against the Marlins, right? Eric Gregg was the pitcher with Levon Hernandez on the mound. Look that one up. He was calling strikes that were like 12 inches off the plate.
That was part of that worst calls ever.
Yeah, he was
Part
calling
of that worst
pitches
calls
in the
ever.
batter box with strikes. So
Yeah.
anyway,
The number one worst call ever that they had though was when the kid, what was the Detroit pitcher's name? Where he covered
Armando
first.
Galarraga.
Yeah. No, where he covered first. Yeah. And blew the perfect game. Jim Joyce called the guy safe. If you would have had instant replay, the guy would have had a perfect game. So, yeah. All right, boys, let's go around the horn. Jackson, 30 seconds. What do you want to tell us before we get back together again? What do you want to tell us about the Braves or baseball or just life in general?
Apparently, I need to call the commissioner and we need to establish some sort of committee for the umpires because someone's already doing it for them. All they have to do is hand out scorecards and be like, "Hey, you're doing bad. You're out of here."
They need somebody to be the union ball buster.
Yeah.
So,
But aside,
yes.
and your fun scheduling fact for the week, I did some digging because I knew the Royals had a weird schedule to start the season. This is their first week. They played the Rangers, had an off day, played the Rangers twice more, then flew to Cleveland, played Cleveland, had an off day, played Cleveland again, then flew to Chicago, played the White Sox, and had another off day.
Were those scheduled off days or were those weather off days?
Those were
I know there was a bunch of snow up there.
That was all scheduled off days. So, I mean, our big takeaways is they need to work on the schedule and they need to work on the umpires in the MLB. So,
part of it is they schedule games too early in those northern cities. I'll never get it. Why are you playing in Minnesota or Cleveland in early April? Why?
Yeah. I've never understood, to your point, Dave, I've never understood why Cleveland, Colorado,
Boston, Minnesota, Milwaukee, Detroit,
why they ever get a chance to start at home. Start away, right? Give it another week, right?
Or oh my gosh, shorten the schedule. Make it 145 games and we'll all still get our fix and start in the middle of April. But that's sacrilege. That's money.
Yeah, it's, if they do anything, they'll go back to 154. But that was, last I had read, that was actually on the docket for the collective bargaining agreement. I don't think it's going to happen. The universal DH is on there too, and that stupid runner on second base is also on there.
My final around the horn thought will be pitchers are raking this year.
They are. Awesome. Dave, round the horn.
Well, I'm looking for the Yerminator to hit a couple more 500-foot tape measure bombs. We've got Detroit this week, so I'm thinking we're going to feast on their pitching and their defense and get some wins here and reel in Kansas City and probably overtake first place within about a week. That's my hope. That's what I think is going to happen. And I also think the Cubs are playing over their heads. I think their team batting average might be approaching 200 now. So that's all going to come home to roost. And seriously, a few of those guys are starting to hit. I think Bryant and Rizzo and a couple of those guys are starting to hit. But I don't know if you've seen Javi Baez lately, but if he doesn't hit a home run, he strikes out 7 times. it's all or nothing. And he's too good a player for that. I don't know what the deal is there, but it's kind of tough to watch.
Mental thing. Ned, round the horn.
Look for the Angels to go as Mike Trout goes. Tonight he's already 3 for 3. So, he has another type season. They might have a chance. They might. And also too, it's good to see fans back in the stadiums again. Even watching the games on TV, you can tell that the players are excited, and it's just kind of a different feel from what we saw last year when your boys in blue won the championship. So even though they probably still would have won it.
Is it me, or is it just, to your point, Ned, isn't it just cool to hear the chatter in the background of people talking? It kind of used to be annoying, but I just love it. I know now that there's fans.
Yep, I like it.
I love Sunday Night Baseball. I just watch it on mute. I think Dave's in agreement with me on that one too, right?
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you what, that color commentator is really tough to listen to.
Yeah, that's
without naming names.
Yeah, we won't mention any names.
He's tough to listen to.
Well, my final thought around the horn is I'm looking for some good baseball. I think the Braves are right where they're going to be. They're gonna just go nowhere but up on this one. I still think they're going to win the East. Nobody's playing well. The Sox will, like Dave, you nailed it perfectly. If the Angels can keep scoring but not giving up monster losses like 15-2 losses and things like that, that changes, some of it. And I go back to this. I said it last season. Little ball is what killed the Dodgers last night. Runner on second, nobody out, right? You start that stupid 11th inning, you're down by a run. You got a guy up to the plate that at best is batting 111 in Edwin Rios. Have him bunt, lay it down, get a runner on third. Now you got Mookie Betts up and you got Corey Seager up. And something can happen. There's just a different outlook when you have a runner on third versus a runner on second. But instead, Edwin Rios swings for the fences and strikes out. And then Mookie Betts strikes out on ball 4. And then Corey Seager hits a bullet to second base to end the game. So anyways. All right, Top fans, my friends, we've done another Clubhouse. We're enjoying this. This is good times. Please, by all means, subscribe to the YouTube channel and look up the other articles. We did a Top Fan predictions, and look that one up too as we're going through the season, because I think we're nailing it pretty good, boys. So we appreciate you listening and look forward to doing it again soon.